Hey guys, welcome back to the Pocketing H channel. We are switching it up. We're changing it from Connor Billiards now to the Pocketing H channel. That seems to be a little bit more suitable for my channel, and did a little bit of research, and I'm just kind of an idiot. So we're just going to go with Pocketing Eights for now, and I really like the name, and I hope it sticks with you guys as well. But today we're going to be taking a look at a custom wood shaft that was made by BC Customs. So let's get into this review and see how it compares up against my carbon shafts. Made. Now I'll explain a little bit more in detail exactly what it is, but a little story on how I found this, because I am a person that likes to have something that sticks out above the rest. And in my research on trying to find a shaft, whether it be carbon or wood, I stumbled across a Facebook group, and they were selling cues that were very rare, very antique, and just unique in general. But the one that stood out above the rest was Bernie Cooper. Bernie Cooper is a guy based out of Florida, and he makes custom cues. And it's not just shafts, he does repairs, he does custom work with carbon, wood, and even butts. If you wanted to have anything custom made to your tailoring, he will do it for you, and it is absolutely stunning work. The photos that he has on his page is just, it blows your mind what someone can do by themselves. But Bernie Cooper, huge shout out to him. Thank you for making the shaft for me. I could not have been any happier with this. And yes, I'm kind of spoiling the video, but I absolutely love this. But let's get down on the table and explain to you what makes this shaft so much more special. All right, so we have my scale here in front of me. Now let's explain to you what we actually have in front of us. So as you guys can see, we have this nice little point in the grain. Well, this is Ashwood. This has been a torrified Ashwood. And if you don't know what torrified means, or the torrification process, that means that it has been through a heat treated process to basically remove any of the sugars and moisture from the shaft to make it, one, more durable, but also enhance the color, which I truly love and what I was looking for. I like maple shafts. I just don't like how light they are, and I wanted something to be a little bit closer to carbon, but this turned to be one of the best options I could have picked, because the grain pattern in Ashwood is really unmatched, and it is commonly used in the snooker world, but nobody, from my understanding, in the snooker world has a torrified, or what I'm calling a Kielwood Ashwood. You can really see the points here in the light as I start to pivot, and those are the snooker-esque points that you usually see. Now, we are going to be weighing both the shaft and the extension that I had made for it, because I am a taller guy. I absolutely had to have this extension made. So we have this zeroed out. This is in fluid ounces. We are going to measure the extension first. Now, everything is in unilock, and I believe this is a linen type phenolic material used on the joints. And then these seem to be some sort of a stainless steel, if not aluminum, pin and brass insert. But we're going to weigh this. Oh, the scale shut off. Let's try that again. All right, so that's zeroed out. So just the extension, this is a 5-inch extension. This is 2.2 ounces. So we're going to take that, set that off to the side. And now for the shaft. Now this shaft is 31 inches long. That is what I asked him to make it with. We are paired up with a linen paper micarta. I could be pronouncing it wrong, so sorry if I am, but paper micarta ferrule. And we have it paired up with a Caiden Warrior soft tip. I will explain a little bit more about the Caiden Warriors because I do have an update for those. And then this is a brass insert with that same linen phenolic joint, I believe. But let's try and find the center balancing point here. And right there, it is coming in at 3.5 ounces. That is super light, guys. That is extremely light. And we'll pull out one of my carbon shafts just to explain. But this is with the 5-inch extension added on, and we are in at 5.7 ounces. That is so light, guys. Now I'm gonna come over here and I'm going to grab my custom shaft that was made by a great friend of mine, Tom. This is a carbon shaft that he makes himself. I will be doing a review on this in the future as well. But just for comparison, these are both 31-inch long shafts. So with that being said, this should be relatively comparable. Now, carbon is a little bit heavier because the wood has been torrefication process, and it removes a lot of the moisture and it adds a little bit of stiffness and rigidity to keep it closer to carbon. That is why Kielwood is so sought after in the pool world. But you can see here, 4.2 ounces is what my custom carbon shaft weighs. And when we switch back over to just the shaft, no extension, 3.5 ounces. So it is extremely light, and it is actually really, really nice to shoot with. So what makes Ashwood so special is the grain pattern. Now, on Ashwood, it is completely different from hard maple, and you can get the same color and kind of look from a maple shaft that has been torrefied, but it'll have a more rich honey color, and you'll see that anywhere that you kind of go, except for the tsunami shafts, which are very, very dark and very similar to this. However, this has been custom made, so it is a little bit more special to my heart, and I could not be happier with the grain pattern towards the end of the joint for the extension and coming through. But one of the things with Ashwood is that, as you can see, the dark lines here at the front, I have conditioned the shaft since I got it on the day one, and it was really, really dark in color for the grain pattern. Now, what happened was I ended up accidentally sanding down a little bit too much, and I only used 1,000 grit sandpaper, and it just shows how sensitive Ashwood can be, and no one else has a cue like this, so there's no information to be looked up or really know about, because snooker is the only cue sport that has Ashwood shafts. No one in America, from my understanding, has done a review, nor have I ever seen anyone shoot with an Ashwood shaft that has been through the torrefication process. So trying to keep the lines in here is a really hard process. But I have since reconditioned and made this shaft better than what I did. And, you know, along my friend group, they call it conifications. So I ended up fixing this. It was originally a 12.3 millimeter tip diameter, and it had a nice pro taper, but it was a little bit on the conical side because Ashwood is on the whippier side. However, what I ended up doing was having to take this down to about a 12 millimeter. So at the tip, it measures 12 millimeters, and it comes into almost a little bit of a conical pro taper shape. So it's almost like a hybrid. And as we come up the shaft, it does measure right around where my finger's at. It's usually about 12.4 to 12.5. But as you start from the tip and come up, you have to start building up the diameter, because otherwise it becomes almost too whippy. And what Bernie did with his taper is really, really nice, because it actually makes this super low deflection, and I could not be happier. Now, the paper micarta is what I have heard to be one of the best ferrules known to pool, and the look is really, really cool. However, I believe this is a linen, not a true paper micarta like you see on the tsunami shafts, but this actually works out super, super well. And the hit behind all of these shots is very consistent every single time, but we will explain that a little bit more as we test this and shoot this around. But he originally paired this up with a KO Brothers medium tip that I requested. I did not like the sound signature of it, so I was messing around with some tips. I found to be the Zan Grip Hards are by far the best tips to play with, and that is turning out to be one of my favorite playing tips, and we'll be doing that more in the future. But we have a Caiden Warrior, so the red, and a soft. Now the Caiden Warriors, I have learned through trying all the hardness ratings that they play harder than what they actually are. So this soft tip is actually playing more like a medium. The medium was playing like a hard, and the hard was basically almost like a break tip. So we are paired up with a Caiden Warrior soft here, and let's get to hitting some balls on the table now. So we're going to do a sound test now with the Ashwood shaft, and this is, again, like I said, the Caiden Warrior soft. Different types of softness ratings or hardness ratings, however you want to describe them, changes the tone of your cue drastically. I have tried 3 different tips between the Zan Grip Hard and the Caiden Warrior Soft are the 2 that I am really happy with the sound and the tone off of the shot, but I will be doing a soft, medium, and hard hit here. I'm going to take my microphone now, and I am going to set it right next to the object ball. I'm setting this up 1 diamond away from the center. This is soft. This is medium. And this is hard. So we're going to be performing a deflection test, and to try and make this a little bit more consistent and controllable, I am going to be using a stripe ball, and I'm going to be using the 10. I have a spot dot here at the center of the head string, and I'm going to be hitting this on the outside edge of the white on the 10. So I'm going to be hitting that spot every single time, and we will vary the shot speed depending. Now we have a piece of tape down here to help show some of the deflection, so it is perfectly center right here in the middle, and then each mark is 1 inch, roughly an inch. I kind of messed up the markings, but it will give you a good gauge for how low deflection this is. But like I said, I'm going to be hitting the outside edge of the number 10, so the center of the tip is right in between that line. It's on the line for where the blue and the white meets, and we're going to make this as controllable as possible. So I'm going to leave my bridge about 5 to 6 inches, and I'm going to try and hit this completely straight. So I am on an 8-foot table here at my house, and I am going to be moving soon, but we're trying to get as accurate deflection testing as we can. Let me adjust my microphone so that it is not getting in the way of my shot. So if the audio changes a little bit, I apologize, but we are going to do the same hit on the literally on the edge of the number 10 inside dot and the blue where it meets. And let's make sure that's as center as possible. And about 5 to 6 inches back. This one is going to be a medium speed. And now that is really, really low deflection, as you guys can see. That was about an inch. That was about an inch. And we're hitting this on the right side, so it should be squirting over to the right side of the screen for you guys, but it is left for me. And this one is going to be a hard hit. And it kind of varies every single time, but we'll do this a couple times. And so as you guys can see here, there's a mark right at the exact same spot where you're hitting every single time. So this shaft has been pretty low deflection. And all right, so we are going to shoot some balls around and actually play with this on the table a little bit. But I've got a 9-ball rack that kind of threw the balls out randomly, and we're just going to try and run them out as best as I can. I'm probably going to miss some shots along the way, so don't judge me too hard. But let's get some play in with this shaft. Not bad. Not bad. The things I do for you guys. So my BC Custom Cue shaft, what is the deal with this guy? Because it is torrefied, the heat treatment process like Kielwood, it's just done on an Ashwood, and so that is where this nice, dark, deep, rich color is coming from. This and maple are really the only shafts you want to do this with because of the density in the wood and kind of the weight and the balance behind it. These shafts are light, 3.5 ounces for a shaft. Just the shaft, 31 inches long with a unilock. This is so light, guys. I'm impressed with how light he was able to get this and how well it shoots. This is super low deflection, the paper micarta ferrule, and I'm sure you guys are going to roast me in the comments for how I pronounce things on here, but I do not care. The paper micarta ferrule was amazing to shoot with. It kind of helps keep the sight line all one color so that there's no breakup in between aiming and shooting. Now I do have this paired up with a Caiden Warrior soft tip. The Caiden Warriors are tending to play a little bit harder than what I initially thought. So I usually played with a hard and I was loving it. But then we switched over to a medium and it still felt like it was playing like a hard. So then I dropped down one more hardness level and we were playing with the soft, and the soft plays like a medium. So it is very weird that the Caiden Warrior tips are playing harder than what they're supposed to, because it's not only me. There's a lot of people that have the same thoughts and opinions on it, but with this BC Custom Cue shaft, it works really, really well. And the sound signature changes so drastically too with different tip materials. So I found that this and the Zan Grip Hard are the two that I really enjoy shooting with on this shaft. Now it is a 5-inch extension because I am a tall guy. So these cues and shafts that Bernie Cooper makes, they are all custom made to order. So this isn't stuff that he has just ready to ship out. This takes him time to make. And so that is why I ended up choosing him, was because I wanted to be able to get something that was so unique, so one-off, that no one else would have, but would fit me and suit me. And it really worked out because I have this paired up on my Predator P3 butt, and I really couldn't be happier with the setup. If you want to find out pricing and all that, you got to shoot him a message. So I will leave a link down in the description for Bernie Cooper's Facebook page so that you can PM him and get pricing and start figuring out what kind of crazy custom cue you want him to make you, because I don't think you guys would be disappointed at all. I'm more than likely going to buy another shaft from him in the future. Just it might take a little bit of time with moving and just life things happening. So if you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell notification, because we are going to be doing some more product reviews on some shafts in the future. I won't say what yet, but we are going to be doing some more reviews soon. So turn on that notification bell and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.